Welcome back, everybody. Ready for another deep dive?
Absolutely. Always ready to go deep.
Well, today we're tackling something I'm personally super interested in, gratitude and mindfulness.
Yeah. It's more than just like that surface level feel good stuff, right?
Totally. We're going way deeper, looking at how these practices can actually, really shift your whole mindset.
For the better, ideally.
Exactly. And we've got some really cool sources to work with today, a nice little mix. We've got a 30-day gratitude challenge from a wellness influencer, Shalise Tyson, some insights from mindfulness.com.
Oh, nice. I like mindfulness.com.
Oh, yeah, it's a great resource. And then we've got some expertise from positivepsychology.com.
Bringing in the science. Love it.
Always got to have the science. And then kind of a curveball, a parenting blog with a really unique perspective.
Interesting. I'm curious to see where they take it.
Me too. So by the end of this deep dive, you'll know exactly what these practices are, how they can work for you, and even how to start integrating them into your own life.
Sounds like a plan.
So let's jump right in with Shalise Tyson. I really dig how she presents gratitude, especially for Black women, as this form of radical self-love.
It's like a direct counter to that whole hustle harder mentality that's everywhere.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's about stopping and actually appreciating what you have instead of always chasing after more.
And the crazy thing is, it's not just a nice idea. The science actually backs it up. Practicing gratitude can legit reduce stress and anxiety, improve your mental health, even make you more resilient.
Wow, that's really powerful. So tell me more about this 30-day gratitude challenge she created. What does it actually involve?
Well, the basic structure is super simple. It's just 5 minutes a day, writing down 3 things you're grateful for.
Okay, that's totally doable.
Right. But what makes it really cool is the community aspect. She encourages everyone to share their gratitude wins on social media, connect with other people who are doing the challenge.
I can see how that would be so motivating. And it's not just a random list of things, right? It sounds like there's a structure to the challenge.
You got it. Each week has a different theme to guide your reflection. So week 1 is all about gratitude for yourself and your faith.
That's a good place to start.
Totally. Then you move on to relationships and community, then your growth and achievements, and finally, joy and simple pleasures.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this, but I'm thinking if you're completely new to mindfulness, a 30-day challenge might sound kind of daunting.
That's where a resource like mindfulness.com comes in super handy. Especially for beginners, it's a great place to start. They've got tons of guided meditations and practices.
I remember checking out their site. Don't they have specific meditations for cultivating gratitude?
Yeah, Millie O'Brien has a bunch, actually. There's one literally called Cultivating Gratitude, which is really helpful for connecting with those feelings. And then there's the basics of mindfulness and taming the mind, all super helpful for supporting a gratitude practice.
It's amazing how all these practices kind of work together, right? Like mindfulness helps you become more aware of the good things in your life, which naturally makes you feel more grateful.
Totally, it's like a positive feedback loop. And speaking of mindfulness.com, I've been meaning to try their morning intention setting.
Oh, yeah. That seems like it would pair perfectly with a daily gratitude practice.
Right. Imagine waking up and setting an intention to approach every interaction with patience and kindness.
And then taking a few minutes to reflect on what you're grateful for. That could totally shift your whole day.
I'm feeling more energized just thinking about it. Okay, so we've got Shalisa's personal approach and the practical guidance from mindfulness.com. Now, what about the science behind all of this? What can you tell me about positivepsychology.com?
Oh, positivepsychology.com goes deep into the research, like really deep. They've got a whole section on this thing called positive CBT.
Positive CBT, huh? That's intriguing. What's that all about?
So traditional CBT is great for identifying and changing negative thought patterns, but positive CBT, it broadens things out.
So it's not just about fixing what's wrong.
Exactly. It encourages you to focus on your strengths, on positive emotions, finding meaning in your life, and your overall goals.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's like taking CBT and adding a whole layer of positive psychology.
Yes. And here's how it connects to gratitude. Think about a recent setback, something that didn't go your way. Positive CBT suggests that by reflecting on your strengths and past wins, you can actually reframe that setback as a learning opportunity.
So feeling grateful for your resilience can help you approach future challenges with more confidence.
Exactly. So we've got personal stories, practical exercises, and now the scientific backing for all of this, which leads us to our last source, the Splendid Path.
The parenting blog.
Right. And it's interesting because while it focuses on parenting, it also talks about finding your own path and finding solace. And that really resonated with me because it connects to gratitude as a tool for shifting your perspective.
I see what you mean.
Like if you're feeling lost or unsure, taking the time to appreciate the good things, even the little things, can help you find your way.
It's like gratitude can illuminate the path forward, even when things feel uncertain.
I love that. And it reminds us that even in the middle of the chaos of parenting, really, the chaos of life, there's always something to be thankful for.
And that very act of appreciating those things can bring us peace and a sense of purpose.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
It's interesting, how all of these sources touch on the theme of community in some way, even though they come from completely different perspectives.
Yeah. Like even with Shalise Tyson's 30-day challenge, she's got that whole glow-getter community on Instagram where people share their gratitude experiences. It's got to be pretty powerful to have that kind of shared support.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
Even on mindfulness.com, which is more about individual practice, they still got forums and groups so people can connect and talk about their journeys.
It makes you realize that even though these practices are personal, sharing that experience with others adds another dimension to it all.
Yeah, totally. And then there's the Splendid Path, where they talk about finding your tribe and, being there for each other through the good times and the bad. It's almost like when you express gratitude to someone, you're acknowledging their impact on your life, but you're also strengthening that connection.
Right. And it kind of creates this ripple effect, right? One person's gratitude inspiring others, leading to a more positive environment for everyone.
Exactly. Like a collective shift towards a more appreciative way of being. But, a lot of what we've talked about today is just the starting point, the 30-day challenge, starting a meditation practice. So how do we go from there? How do you make gratitude a lasting habit?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. It's easy to get excited about something new, but keeping that momentum going, that's the tricky part.
Well, that's where mindfulness really comes into play. It's all about paying attention to the present moment without judging yourself, noticing your thoughts and feelings without getting completely swept away by them.
Okay. I'm not sure I totally get how that translates into making gratitude stick.
So think of it this way. When you practice mindfulness, you become more aware of all the good things in your life, even the small things you might normally overlook. The taste of your coffee in the morning, a sunny day, a good laugh with a friend.
Oh, okay. So you're not just going through the motions, you're actually savoring those positive experiences.
Yes. And the more you practice that, the more gratitude becomes a part of your everyday life. Less of a conscious effort, more of a natural way of being. Almost like you're rewiring your brain to automatically focus on the good stuff.
That's really interesting because I don't know about you, but I think most of us naturally gravitate towards what's wrong or what's missing instead of appreciating what we already have.
It's totally human nature, but the great thing is, it's something we can shift. You don't need fancy equipment or to go on some big retreat. Just a willingness to change your perspective and a few minutes a day to practice.
And you get so much in return, less stress, more happiness, stronger relationships. It seems like a no-brainer.
I know, right? It's like we've been given this incredible toolkit, and it's our choice to use it or not. So if someone's listening and thinking, okay, I'm in, but where do I start? What would you tell them?
Don't overthink it. Just choose one thing that resonates with you. Maybe it's Shalisa's gratitude journaling, a guided meditation from mindfulness.com, or even just taking 5 minutes each day to appreciate those good things, no matter how small.
I love that. Start small, build a routine that works for you, and go from there.
And don't forget to be kind to yourself. There's no right or wrong way to do this. It's your journey, so just start wherever you are.
You bring up a really important point, self-compassion. Because while we're talking about all these amazing benefits, it's also real that it's not always easy. There will be days when you forget to practice or you're super busy or you just don't feel like it.
Yeah, like with any new habit, there are going to be bumps along the way.
For sure. And that's totally normal. The important thing is to not beat yourself up about it. Just acknowledge it, be kind to yourself, and come back to your practice when you're ready.
Progress, not perfection. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is, those practices we're talking about can actually help you build resilience so you can bounce back from those setbacks more easily. They help you focus on what you can control instead of getting stuck in self-criticism.
That shift in perspective is so key. So we've got personal stories, practical tips, and the reminder to be kind to ourselves. But what about the science? We've mentioned it here and there, but I want to dive a little deeper into the why behind all this.
I'm with you. I think understanding the science can help us appreciate these practices even more. It takes them from feel-good fads to legitimate tools for a better life.
So let's get into it. What does the research actually say about the benefits of gratitude?
Well, studies have shown that practicing gratitude can lead to a whole bunch of positive outcomes. I'm talking physical and mental health benefits.
Like what specifically?
Well, for starters, gratitude has been linked to better sleep, and then there's reduced anxiety and depression, increased happiness, and even a stronger immune system.
No way, that's amazing. And what about mindfulness? Is the research just as impressive?
It is. Mindfulness has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety, improve focus, help you manage your emotions better, increase self-awareness, and even boost compassion and empathy.
So it's not just about feeling good in the moment. We're talking about real, measurable changes in our brains and bodies.
Exactly. These practices literally have the power to rewire your neural pathways, change your hormones, and improve how your body functions overall. And this isn't just like anecdotal evidence. There's been tons of research over the past few decades that back this up.
So even for the skeptics out there, there's hard data that shows how transformative these practices can be.
No doubt about it. And the coolest part is it's accessible to everyone, no matter your age, your background, or what you believe in. You don't have to be a meditation expert or a spiritual guru to benefit.
It's about taking those simple everyday actions and making them a conscious part of your life.
Absolutely. And this brings up another important point. How can we apply these concepts to different areas of our lives? We've talked theory, so let's get practical. How can gratitude and mindfulness make a real difference in our relationships, our work, our overall well-being?
Okay, I'm game. Let's start with relationships. How can these practices change the way we connect with other people?
Well, think about it. When you practice gratitude, you naturally become more attuned to the positive qualities of the people in your life. You appreciate their kindness, their support, the unique things they bring to your world.
So instead of focusing on their flaws or taking them for granted, you're more likely to see the good.
Exactly. And that shift in how you see them affects how you interact with them. You're more likely to show your appreciation, be present during conversations, and really nurture those relationships.
And that's where mindfulness comes in, right?
Yes. Mindfulness helps you be more present and attentive in those interactions. You're not lost in your own thoughts or distracted by your phone. You're actually listening and connecting with the people you care about.
That's so important these days, with all the distractions we're constantly bombarded with.
I know, right? And when you combine gratitude with mindfulness, you create this amazing synergy that can totally transform your relationships.
You become a better partner, a more attentive friend, a more present parent, a more engaged colleague. The list goes on. And that positive energy just radiates outwards.
Absolutely. It creates a ripple effect, a more positive and harmonious environment for everyone involved. And speaking of environments, let's talk about work. It's a huge part of our lives, but let's be honest, it can be crazy stressful.
Oh my gosh, yes. The pressure to perform, the long hours, the constant demands, it's so easy to get caught up in negativity and burnout.
That's exactly where gratitude and mindfulness can be total game changers. When you practice gratitude at work, you start to appreciate the opportunities you have, the skills you've developed, the positive relationships you've built.
So instead of dwelling on the things that are frustrating, you focus on what you're thankful for.
Exactly. And that can lead to a greater sense of job satisfaction, a sense of purpose, and even increased motivation and productivity.
And what role does mindfulness play in the workplace?
Mindfulness helps you stay grounded and focused, even when everything around you feels chaotic. You're less likely to get swept away by stress and negativity, and more likely to respond to challenges with calmness and clarity.
It's almost like you're developing this internal toolkit to handle stressful situations more effectively.
You got it. And that can lead to making better decisions, being more creative, and having a more positive and productive work experience overall.
So whether you're dealing with a difficult coworker, a demanding boss, or just the everyday pressures of your job, gratitude and mindfulness can help you navigate those challenges with grace and resilience.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your experience and creating a more fulfilling and meaningful work life. Okay, we've talked about relationships and work. Let's shift gears a bit and talk about health and well-being. We touched on the physical and mental benefits earlier, but let's unpack that a bit more.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think that something as simple as shifting your mindset can actually impact your health in a measurable way.
I know, it's pretty amazing. Studies have shown that gratitude and mindfulness can reduce inflammation in the body, lower blood pressure, boost your immune system, and even help manage chronic pain.
So we're talking about real, tangible results, not just a vague feeling of well-being.
Exactly. And the research on mental health is just as impressive. Gratitude and mindfulness have been shown to reduce anxiety and depression, improve sleep quality, and create a greater sense of peace and contentment.
It's like you're giving your mind and body the tools they need to thrive.
I love that analogy. And what's even better is that they're completely natural. Anyone can access them, and there are no negative side effects. It's empowering to know that we have so much control over our own well-being.
Totally. It's about actively participating in your health journey rather than passively hoping for the best.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So whether you want better sleep, to manage stress, boost your immune system, or just feel more vibrant and balanced, gratitude and mindfulness can be powerful allies in that journey.
Absolutely. And they address the root causes of disease instead of just masking the symptoms. That's what true well-being is all about.
Okay, let's switch gears again and talk about personal growth and self-development. Because these practices are great for our health and relationships, but they go even deeper than that, right?
Oh, yeah. Gratitude and mindfulness are like superpowers for personal transformation, for becoming the best versions of ourselves.
I like that, superpowers. So how do they work their magic? Tell me more.
Well, think about it. Gratitude helps us shift our focus from what we lack to what we have. It helps us cultivate contentment, appreciation, a feeling of abundance even when things are difficult.
It's like putting on a new pair of glasses and seeing the world in a whole new light.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective can be incredibly freeing. You stop chasing after more and start finding joy and meaning in what you already have.
And mindfulness helps us see ourselves more clearly, right?
Absolutely. Mindfulness helps us become aware of our thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. Not in a judgmental way, but in a way that helps us understand ourselves better and make choices that align with our values.
It's like becoming an observer of your own life instead of just being swept along by it.
Exactly. And that self-awareness is essential for growth. You can identify patterns that don't serve you, make positive changes, and develop the qualities you want to embody.
So, to sum it up, gratitude helps us appreciate what we have, and mindfulness helps us understand ourselves better. Together, they create this powerful foundation for personal growth and transformation.
And that journey of self-discovery can be incredibly rewarding. It's about letting go of limiting beliefs, embracing your true self, and stepping into your full potential.
It's a lifelong adventure, and one that's definitely worth taking, filled with challenges and triumphs and endless possibilities for growth,
And gratitude and mindfulness are those trusty companions that help guide us along the way.
leading us toward a more authentic, meaningful, and fulfilling life.
You know, through all these conversations, the theme of intention keeps popping up. It's one thing to practice gratitude or mindfulness randomly when you remember, but I think there's another level of transformation that happens when you approach them with real intention.
You're so right. Intention is like the fuel that drives any meaningful change. It's the spark that gets us going and keeps us committed to growth.
So how can we cultivate that stronger sense of intention in our gratitude and mindfulness practice?
A good place to start is by asking yourself why you're doing it in the first place. What are you hoping to achieve? What qualities are you trying to develop?
It's about connecting with a deeper purpose, not just going through the motions.
Exactly. When you understand why you're doing something, it's so much easier to stay motivated, even when things get tough. And don't just set those intentions at the beginning. Bring that intention into every moment of your practice.
So each time you meditate, write in your gratitude journal, or just choose to be present and appreciative, you're reaffirming your commitment to that deeper purpose.
Exactly. And that intention adds so much depth and power to your practice. It transforms your gratitude and mindfulness from habits into sacred rituals, acts of self-care, pathways to transformation.
I love that. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to encourage everyone listening to take a moment to reflect on their own intentions. What are you seeking? What do you want to create in your life? How can these practices help you get there?
Those are powerful questions, and the answers can guide you toward a more intentional, fulfilling, and meaningful life.
You know, one of the most inspiring things we've explored is how gratitude and mindfulness aren't just about individual well-being. It's like they create this ripple effect that reaches out and touches our communities and even society as a whole.
It's true. We talked about how gratitude strengthens our relationships, making us more appreciative and present, and how mindfulness helps us listen more deeply, respond with more empathy, and build stronger connections overall.
It's like individual well-being feeds into collective well-being and vice versa, this beautiful feedback loop.
Exactly.
Huh.
Just imagine if every community actively encouraged and practiced gratitude and mindfulness.
I know, right? Think about the impact it would have on workplaces, for example.
Oh, definitely. We probably see more productivity and creativity for sure, but also less conflict, more collaboration, and a shared sense of purpose.
And families, too. Imagine parents modeling these practices, creating a more positive and nurturing environment for their children.
There's research that suggests that children who grow up in mindful, grateful homes are more resilient, more emotionally intelligent, and more socially responsible.
Wow, that's amazing. It's like we're planting seeds that will bloom for generations to come.
I love that.
Huh?
And it's not just about families or workplaces either. Imagine if we all approached everyday situations, waiting in line, traffic, interacting with strangers with more mindfulness and gratitude.
It would completely change the collective experience.
Absolutely. More patience, less road rage, more kindness.
More peace and harmony overall. It's like a positive chain reaction.
Totally. And it's a good reminder that even our own little personal practices can contribute to a bigger shift in consciousness.
Exactly. So it's not about being perfect or reaching some enlightened state. It's about those small, consistent efforts we make each day.
To cultivate gratitude and mindfulness in our own lives and trust that those efforts ripple outward and create a better world for everyone.
What a powerful message.
I agree. As we've been talking about all these amazing possibilities, one challenge keeps coming up.
What's that?
The challenge of actually sticking with these practices when life gets crazy.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like
It's,
we're constantly bombarded with distractions, notifications, to-do lists. It never ends.
it's true. And that's why gratitude and mindfulness are so important. They give us a way to regain control of our attention, ground ourselves in the present moment, and reconnect with what truly matters.
So it's not just about feeling good. It's about using these practices as tools to navigate the chaos.
You got it. So how do we do that? How do we stay grounded and present when the world around us feels like it's spinning out of control?
I'm listening. What are your tips?
Well, gratitude is like an anchor in those moments. When you shift your attention to what you're grateful for, even if it's something small, it can instantly break you out of that negativity and overwhelm.
It's like creating a little sanctuary of peace in the middle of all the craziness.
Yes. And then mindfulness helps you become more aware of the thoughts and emotions that are dragging you down. You learn to observe them without judgment and make conscious choices about how you respond.
So you're not suppressing your emotions, you're learning how to ride the waves without getting completely wiped out.
Exactly. It's about being more intentional with your responses instead of just reacting out of habit.
That sounds challenging, but also really empowering.
It is. And it gets easier the more you do it. Those little moments of gratitude and mindfulness throughout the day, they really add up over time.
And they help you create a more peaceful, joyful, and fulfilling life, even when things are tough.
It's amazing how the theme of perspective keeps coming back around.
It really does. Gratitude and mindfulness have such a profound impact on how we see the world. They help us look through a more positive, appreciative, and hopeful lens.
Gratitude encourages us to focus on the good, to appreciate the things we have, and to believe that there's always enough, even when things are difficult. And mindfulness lets us step back from our thoughts and feelings without judgment, so we can choose how we respond.
So how can we consciously cultivate that more positive and empowering perspective?
One thing that I've found really helpful is to start each day by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for.
The good old gratitude journal strikes again.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be fancy, just a way to bring those feelings of gratitude to the front of your mind and set a positive tone for the day. Then, as you go through your day, make sure you take those mindfulness breaks. Even just a few moments of conscious breathing can make a world of difference.
It's like hitting the reset button when things start to feel overwhelming.
Totally. And when you're faced with challenges, try to reframe them as opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of dwelling on the negative, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to become stronger or wiser?
That's easier said than done sometimes, but it sounds like such a powerful shift.
It really is. It's about seeing those challenges as stepping stones instead of roadblocks and using them to become more resilient and resourceful.
So next time you're feeling stressed, overwhelmed, or stuck in a negative thought loop, remember the power of perspective.
Take a moment to practice gratitude, be mindful, reframe those challenges, and choose a more positive and empowering way of seeing the world.
Because ultimately, the way we see the world shapes the world we create.
Beautifully said. By choosing gratitude, mindfulness, and hope, we can all contribute to creating a world that's more compassionate, fulfilling, and beautiful.
I love how it all comes back to that ripple effect. We've talked about the personal benefits, the applications to work and relationships, and even the science behind it all. But as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to come back to you, the listener.
That's perfect. What message do you want to leave them with?
Well, I just want to remind everyone listening that they have the power to choose how they experience the world.
That's such an important reminder.
They have the power to choose gratitude, to practice mindfulness, and to create a life that's full of joy, meaning, and peace. And by doing that, they're not only transforming their own lives, but also making the world a more compassionate and beautiful place.
What a beautiful legacy to leave behind.
I couldn't agree more.
We've talked a lot about the science, the practices, and the big impact of gratitude and mindfulness. But one thing that really sticks out to me is
What's that?
how they completely change how we see things.
The power of perspective.
Exactly. Even when things are tough, gratitude helps us to focus on what we do have, what's going well, instead of what we're missing.
And mindfulness gives us that ability to step back,
Yeah.
from our thoughts and feelings, observe them without judgment.
Instead of just reacting on autopilot,
It's like gratitude and mindfulness give you that space to choose.
to choose how you want to show up.
I love that. So how can we be more intentional about cultivating this more positive perspective?
Well, there are tons of ways.
Uh,
But one of the most powerful, and one thing we've touched on before, starting each day by thinking of 3 things you're grateful for.
that good old gratitude journal.
Exactly.
Oh.
And it doesn't need to be anything fancy, just something to bring those feelings of gratitude to the forefront. Set a positive tone for the day.
And then throughout the day, we can sprinkle in those mindfulness breaks.
Even just a few moments of conscious breathing.
It's like hitting pause for a second. Reconnect with yourself, calm your mind.
And when challenges come up, and they always do, we can practice reframing.
Reframing. How's that work?
So instead of getting stuck in negativity or feeling sorry for yourself, we can try asking, what can I learn from this? How can I use this challenge to grow?
Turning obstacles into opportunities.
Exactly. And it all
Yeah.
comes back to perspective. The way we see the world shapes our experience. So next time you're feeling stressed or overwhelmed, remember, you have the power to choose a different perspective.
We can take a moment to practice gratitude. Be mindful. Reframe those challenges and choose a more positive way of seeing things.
Because the way we see the world shapes the world we create.
That's so powerful. And you know what? It's amazing how everything we've talked about connects. The science, the personal stories, the practical tips, and that ripple effect that goes way beyond just ourselves.
It shows how even small actions can make a big difference.
So to everyone listening, we encourage you to keep exploring these practices. Find what works for you and discover how transformative gratitude and mindfulness can be.
The world needs more grateful hearts, more mindful minds, more compassionate souls.
And it all starts with each of us. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it inspires you to cultivate more gratitude and mindfulness and to share that positive energy with the world.
Until next time, may you be well, may you be happy, and may you be at peace.